Howdy, and welcome back. Happy Father's Day. This year on Shaves of My Father, we celebrate father figures. Right now on A Texan Shaves.
America wakes up with Skin Bracer.
Thanks, I needed that.
Skin Bracer is the morning aftershave. Its skin tightener and chin chillers wake you up like a cold slap in the face. And now, the world discovers Bracer.
どうもそれが必要だったのさ。
A Texan shave, steel in hand, traditional wet, shaving smooth and grand.
Welcome back. Shaves of My Father 2025. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do any more Shaves of My Father. I ran out of aftershaves that my dad used. I have two more. So I'm going to have one for next year. I've got one for this year. But if you paid attention to my live, and I'm going to talk about it now, I'll talk about it here in a little bit. I have a plan. I have a future plan for Shaves of My Father. I still want to do this every year on Father's Day, and I'm going to. So, but you guys are going to be involved in the next ones. So let's go over the hardware real fast before we get into this. I actually received a brand new razor. It showed up while I was traveling. I'm filming this on the day I got home. I'm going to have this up on Father's Day, but I did order from Bull Goose Shaving the Sagus Zeppelin V2. Now, this is a concave razor. I don't know if you can see, it's got that curve right there. This was limited to 7 of 7, and I actually have number 7 of 7. Don't know if you can see that. Actually, this one is the one that's pictured on Bull Goose's website, which I thought was kind of cool. At the time of this recording, there was only one left. So if you are interested, you better hurry. By the time this video goes up, it's most likely going to be gone, but go check. You never know. I have some specs on it. The handle is 95 millimeters. The blade gap is 0.7. Blade orientation is slightly blade forward. Overall weight is 127 grams. It is stainless steel in a matte finish. And the razor is made in Spain, and it is a beautiful design. I am really got some weight to it too, so I'm looking forward to this. Next up, we're going to be using Shave Chaser from Phoenix Shaving. I remember my father using Skin Bracer quite often. And what really stands out to me when I was a young child were the bumps on this, the tactile feel of the bottle whenever I was able to get my hands on it as a young child. So I'm really looking forward to this. I picked this up. It's almost like a flight of Skin Bracer aftershave. I have 3 other scents, and they were arranged on a tray like a flight of whiskey shots or something. It was pretty funny. I have 3 other scents of Skin Bracer that came with it. I am going to compare it, and I'm going to put this on the back of my hand right now with the aftershave from PAA, because I would like to know how similar they are. Let me get that pump primed. I just put that in. I haven't used this yet, so I'm going to put a couple little sprays on the back of that hand, and I'm going to put a little bit of the splash and get this shook up real good on the back of this hand. There we go. And get that spread out. Well, that's very green. Need to find a way to... I'll just let it air dry. I should have rubbed it in a little bit first, and so I'm gonna let that dry down a little bit on the back of my hand. And now I'm gonna go over Shave Chaser real quick. Now, some of this is from the sales blurb of Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, because if anyone knows the history of these vintage aftershaves, it's Douglas Smythe for sure. So he mentions that Skin Bracer dates all the way back to 1931. So as of the recording of this video, Skin Bracer is 94 years old. Wow. It's almost a century, guys. So the scent profile is top notes of citrus, bergamot, menthol. The menthol is only in the aftershave cologne of Shave Chaser. Middle notes are floral, heliotrope, balsamic. Bottom notes of amber, musk, and vanilla. Now, he puts a fun fact in here. Skin Bracer was kind of a new concept at the time in the USA, when the most popular aftershave of the day was still good old bay rum. Being a bold move that really paid off, it may have been Skin Bracer that actually inspired the slew of other more modern, now classic, mentholated, cheap drugstore splashes to follow, like Aqua Velva, Seaforth, Old Spice, etc. You gotta love the trailblazers, he says. So let's get this lather going. I'm using also the Peregrino from Phoenix Shaving. Had to get a green brush in there. Let me get this not wet. And we are just going to do a good old tub load like I like. And that is all we are going to need. Get things rearranged. And I realize I do not have a blade in this razor, so we're going to go with a first use Treat Platinum. Thought I was completely prepared, and apparently I forgot something. So, you know, it's really the clamping on this to get that concave blade is really interesting. I'm really curious how that's going to shave. All right, blade is loaded. So let me move this, move that. Glasses off. Let's get the face wet. I am so glad to be home from that trip. All right. So, father figures. I think we tend to forget those that the teachers, the coaches, older brothers, cousins, uncles, neighbors. You know, I want to honor those men that stepped up, stood in, showed they cared. I think we forget those men on Father's Day. These are men that had led you down the right path, taught you things that your father didn't. And one of the reasons I thought of this is, you know, there are plenty of people who did not grow up with a father, but yet there's still reason to celebrate Father's Day, even if you grew up without a father. There were role models in your life. Hopefully there were role models in your life. And if there were, you should honor them on Father's Day because they stood in. They helped you. They cared. They had a heart that reached out to you to teach you the things you needed to know as you were growing up, that there's some things that you can only get from the male persuasion while you're growing up. Now, there may be some people that will argue that fact, but I believe it. Get some more water. My father, if you remember the shaves of my father, passed away right before my 16th birthday. I still had plenty of formative years where he was gone. And I pretty much went off the rails. I lost it. I was losing track at school, falling way behind. Didn't really see a point in things anymore as far as school and everything else. You know, it was a pretty rough time. I went astray. There was a teacher in school, Mr. Amon, astronomy teacher of all teachers, probably one of the greatest teachers I ever had. Even though it was an elective course, not one needed to graduate, he still put everything into that. He was such a unique fellow as well. As a little side story, whenever we would have an exam, a lot of times he would have everything cleared off his desk, and he was a larger man, and he would sit, he was half Asian, half American, he would sit cross-legged on his desk. like he was meditating with his hands on his knees, eyes closed. Didn't say a word, just tests were already on the desk. We knew the procedure, what we needed to do. Sometimes he'd be sitting there with his hands like this, and he'd have a rubber ball between these two fingers, just keeping them balanced between. He was hot, I'm telling you. And in the middle of the test, every so often, he would make a comment. And it would be, seems to me the answer to number 4 is C. And then he would go back to being quiet and meditating. Now, it was random. We learned it was random. It wasn't the answer. Sometimes you got lucky and it was, because it was just a random answer he was giving out. There were always multiple choice exams. But anyway, to get back to the story. He was one of the few teachers that paid attention to my downward spiral after my father died. I'm going to put a little bit more water on this. And he stepped up. He had a thing he would do when kids would act up in their class, in his class. He wouldn't send them to the office. He wouldn't call security or the principal down or anything. He'd take care of it himself. And he would, and this is how he talked. He would, Mr. Bedford, locker 636, please. Now that was a locker in the hallway right outside his class. That meant you go out there and wait for him to come out and deal with you, you know, whatever that was. All right, let's get this razor wet and get this shave started. I'm really loving the aroma of this. So let's compare real quick and I'll get back to the story. Okay, the OG, really light, almost already faded. Definitely more of a minty, I think it's just the menthol I'm getting right now. A little bit of the citrus, definitely a stronger scent from the PAA Shave Chaser. Enjoyable for sure, really nice, but it's definitely the menthol because it's kind of clearing my sinuses now. This side, now this is aged. This is an old vintage bottle. The scent was still there when I put it on, but it's pretty much almost gone. It's a little more citrusy than I'm getting from Shave Chaser, but could be the age of that bottle. All right, back to the story. So I got sent out to locker 636. The infamous locker, which is no more. That building has since been torn down. Kind of sad. I should have went and tried to snag that locker and kept it. That'd have been kind of a cool keepsake, right? Didn't think about it at the time. Wow, this is smooth. He walked out. And I'm trying to remember what caused me to actually get sent out there. I might have had my head down just sleeping on the desk, not paying attention. And it's hard not to pay attention in this class. He did things to make you pay attention. I can explain some of those later. He was just that good a teacher. You paid attention. So he came out and literally just started asking me questions, you know. He started with, I understand. Well, I can relate. I don't understand what you're going through, but I know it's having an effect. And he dug in and he cared. He didn't let me give him simple answers. He didn't let me escape. He put me through the grinder. He really forced me to look at myself and what's going on. And it was a turning point for me. I thank him for me getting through that part of my life. He was one of the men that stepped up, stood in, took care of me. Happy Father's Day, Mr. Raymond. Sorry. He shaves of my father always seem to get a bit emotional. It's a good memory. I needed that. I needed that kick in the butt. He was there to do it. I don't think anyone else probably could have, honestly. Right time, right place, right person. What coach doesn't fill that role? Even some of the coaches you didn't agree with, they took care of you. They were teaching you how to participate in the sport and to be the best sportsman. I mean, I know my father did. I told you about my father coaching me, but I've had many other coaches as well. And the common denominator with all of them was really more sportsmanship than it was the sport itself. Teaching the sport was easy. Teaching you how to conduct yourself as young men and be good sportsmen, that's what a father would do. I got friends who didn't have fathers growing up. Either they passed away when they were at a young age, went out for the milk and never came home. Lots of reasons. Maybe they just were in the military and couldn't be there. There's lots of reasons. Usually there was someone that stood in. So do me a favor today. If there was a father figure that made a difference in your life, I want you to reach out and tell them so if you're able to. And tell them Happy Father's Day. Man, this smells so good. Not to change the subject. So that's what I got for this Shaves of My Father. I thought real hard about this one. I could pull out more stories about my dad. I have a few more. The older I get, the more I forget them. Except for the ones that are core memories, of course. But I did this one to lead in to how I want to do Shaves of My Father moving forward for the next years. However long I'm going to do this. Some of you heard me talk about it on my live giveaway. Or maybe it was in one of my update videos, I'm not sure. This razor is so freaking good. Jeez. Be another video coming up. And I got this idea from the barbershop duet. So thank you, Marcus and Sarah, for the idea. Giving you your credit right now. I appreciate it. Super smart idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it myself. Because they're smarter than I am, that's why. But we're changing this from Shaves of My Father after this year to Shaves of Our Fathers. I will reach out, and you can start telling me now. I will reach out at some point and ask you, let me know what your father shaved with. Let me know your father's routine in shaving, if he had one. Let me know the scents that he wore, because there was only a finite amount that my father wore. And those will be the shaves that I do in subsequent Shaves of Our Father. I've thought about taking it a step further possibly doing a live show with whoever I pick for that year's Shaves of Our Father. And of course, we'll film it ahead of time so it's not being filmed on Father. Well, if we're doing live, I guess we'd have to. Maybe we'd do it the day before. We'll figure it out. But I'd like to have that person on if they want to be and tell their story, tell their Father's Day story while we shave with or use whatever fragrance or aftershave or hardware even that your father used. I thought that was a great idea. All of you participated so much in the first run of the Shaves of My Father that I did. It was a blessed 7-day event I did. And it wasn't just the need for me to have to do that, but each day was better and better because of your guys' participation and comments. And thank you. So let's do this together moving forward. It is now going to become Shaves of Our Fathers. Anyone that wants to participate can. And we're going to start this next year. Let me know down below what you think. Also, let me know down below the father figure that helped you in your life. And if you want, let me know if you reached out to him today. I'd like to know. I know there's a couple I'm going to reach out to right after this shave. Well, not after this shave, but on Sunday. I already feel like I'm there on Father's Day. All right, let's see what this thing does against the grain. I did not know if I was going to like this razor this much. It's nice. Left a little bit, but I'm learning this razor. I don't want to chew my neck up. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to use this razor again tomorrow for sure. All right, as far as I'm going. Sorry, got a little quiet there. New razor on the neck. Had to concentrate and see how I need to attack it. So far on the fragrance, Skin Bracer versus Shave Chaser, this has gone a little more powdery, which isn't bad. I like a nice powdery scent. It's not heavy, but it's still so super light. You know me, I like a little more. And this still has that menthol is still kind of lingering as far as the aroma of it. All right, there we go. Wow, it's a good shave. Just a little bit right there, right in the center. Got the rest pretty good though. I don't feel irritated at all. All right, gonna get a rinse, come back up for Shave Chaser. Sorry, Skin Bracer. And my final thoughts. Be right back. Oh, wow. It's a really good shave. I love when I get a brand new razor and I have a fantastic shave the first run with it, because then I know it's just going to get even better after that. I mean, even if it's not a good run, I know it's going to get better once I learn the razor more, but that was a fantastic shave. Super close. Very good. All right. I'm going to have to do like the old commercials and slap myself, right? Thank you, Skin Bracer. I needed that. John Goodman did one of those. If you haven't seen the commercial, maybe I'll throw it up at the end of this. Ooh, forget these big glass holes. There is a trick to doing them. Learned it on I'd Rather Be Shaving, and I'll explain it to you here in a second. I don't slap myself so well. See if that menthol's still kicking in this after all these years. All right, definitely got a lot more of the scent. Definitely I'm getting the menthol like I did on the Shave Chaser now. It's probably just the amount I put on the back of my hand, I guess. Oh yeah, it's a lot more similar now that I got more of it. Still very light, a lot lighter than Shave Chaser. But they are very close, very, very close. There's something, something slightly different. It could just be the age. I'm not sure. The menthol is coming slow. It's mellow. It's a mellow menthol. I can see why they say it's the morning aftershave. Feels good though. It's already soaked in. It's the first time I remember. Well, I'm sure I remember using it when I was a kid, but I don't remember it much. I wasn't actually shaving. I was just play shaving with my father and putting it on, right? Okay, here we are. Shaves of My Father, 2025. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to all of you father figures out there. And thank you for standing up, standing in, showing you care, doing your part. We all appreciate you very much. Find your peace in what and where you can. We'll see you next time on Text and Shave.